Diplomatic Spire Corellia. Emergency Refugee Status Hearing. Day 3. The vote was concluding. The human, listed as Tobias Cole, refugee survivor, Earth origin, had not spoken in 3 days. Most delegations had marked him as trauma mute. Irrelevant to proceedings, his case file arrived before he spoke. Tobias D. R. Cole, refugee survivor, previous Earth occupation. Cook, class 1-2, Deathworld origin, no political affiliation, no military background, no valuable skills per standard galactic assessment. I have since learned that Cook, on a class 1-2 planet, involves surviving environments that would sterilize most species. Stay close for what happened when the delegations ran the numbers. He sat in the observation gallery, unshaven, wearing a thermal blanket like a cape, yawning repeatedly as if the hearing bored him. The ambient pressure in the spire was 34 kpar, comfortable for all present, standard for diplomatic facilities. He yawned again. Is it always this thin in here? I thought he meant the air quality. The hearing proceeded. Refugee status determinations. Resource allocation debates. The human listened with apparent disinterest, occasionally checking a personal device, ancient Earth technology, non-networked. His junk had higher structural integrity than our diplomatic fleet. I did not know that yet. At the 47-minute mark, the Fenashi delegate addressed him directly. Courtesy question. Survivor Cole, do you have any relevant skills to contribute to the settlement collective? He looked up, yawned again. Well, I can cook, high-pressure environments mostly. Used to work at a deep-sea rig before the GBC. Paused. Before deep-sea? The Fenashi consulted her notes. Your file lists atmospheric pressure tolerance for emergency shelter purposes. What is your species' comfortable range? He shrugged. Sea level is 101.325 kpar. We can go lower. I at 2, if we need to. Had a cousin who worked at 200 kpar for years. Diving bell technician. He smiled. Why, you got a kitchen that needs running. I could use some air that doesn't feel like a vacuum. The room laughed. Politely. I did not laugh. I pulled up Earth atmospheric data on my console, cross-referenced with our hull integrity specifications. Standard Earth sea level, 101.325 kp. Our diplomatic vessels, rated for class 3 through class 7 environments have maximum hull tolerance of 45 kpar. The structural engineering required for lungs that operate at 101 kpar would... I stopped typing. He was breathing air that would crush our ships. Casually. While yawning, I ran it 3 times. The math didn't change. His comfortable atmosphere exceeds our structural limits by 225%. He yawned again. 101.325 kpar. That's standard for us. Why? Those calm eyes. I had noted them in my log as possibly sedated. I was wrong. The Fenashi delegate's laughter died first. She was checking her own console, then the Thessani, then the Corellian. Silence spread like a wave. I heard the Valanthi ambassador whisper to his aide, voice shaking. Their atmosphere would crush our lungs. Their standard atmosphere. The aide's response was barely audible. How do they survive their own planet? If 101 kpar is standard, then their survival adaptations must include. The ambassador cut him off. They don't survive it. They evolved in it. They're built for pressure that would kill us instantly. I looked at Tobias Cole. He was checking his device again. Still yawning, still calm. Waiting for us to finish our thin air hearing, the Fenashi delegation requested an immediate atmospheric compatibility assessment. Not for the human. For the diplomatic spire itself. Could their vessels even land on Earth? The answer, confirmed by engineering, no. Not without structural reinforcement that would require dry dock refit. The Thessani delegation calculated evacuation time to their orbiting vessel, 8 minutes to the hangar bay. The human's atmosphere, if he were to somehow release it, would breach the spire's seals in approximately 6 minutes. 3 delegations filed emergency departure requests. 2 more activated personal breathing apparatus, useless against 101 kpar, but they activated them anyway. The realization spread. We were sitting in a room with a being who breathed pressure that would crush our chests, and he was bored. Bored by our thin 34 kpar. What kind of environment creates a species that yawns at vacuum differential? The emergency evacuation alarm sounded at 14:23. 12 delegations departed within 40 minutes. The hearing was abandoned. Tobias Cole's refugee status was approved by default. There was no one left to object. The Spire's atmospheric systems were flagged for upgrade. The upgrade specifications are still pending. Earth's atmospheric pressure exceeds our engineering tolerances. Fleet Command Habitation Authority and the Diplomatic Corps are now in continuous consultation. The chain of phone calls started with a yawn. None of us slept that night. I found Tobias Cole in the empty gallery, still sitting, still wrapped in his thermal blanket like a cape, the same blanket I had dismissed as refugee poverty, now recalculated as something else entirely. Something that kept him warm in an environment where our heating systems ran at 140% capacity just to maintain survivable temperatures for our own species. Something he probably didn't even think about. They evacuated, I told him, because of what you said. He looked confused. What I said. About the cooking, about the pressure. 101.325 kPa. Oh, he yawned. Yeah, it's a bit thin here. Hard to catch a proper breath, you know? He didn't know. He genuinely didn't understand. Those calm eyes. I see them in my reports now. The refugee who yawned at our atmosphere. Whose standard breath would crush our bones. The meal voucher he asked about was approved. He cooks in the settlement kitchen now. High-pressure recipes, he calls them. We eat them in pressure suits. He still yawns. We still watch.